Hey guys, and welcome in this new episode. In this video series we are following me creating a SaaS application from scratch, and the idea is to launch the MVP before the end of the month. The past days was quite chaotic whirlwind. It's busy at work, and also I had the first two customers onboarded within SiteTracker, which is super exciting but also a bit scary because the application is not done yet. They know it, they are from my network, so they also give very proper feedback, but they also really have the need to use it. They don't use it for me because they know me, but they really it really solves a problem for them, so that's interesting. And yeah, that's a good sign, but of course you don't know what happens when the product goes to product hunt, so you never are excited too early. Let's say a little bit with 2 feet on the on the earth. But the thing that I'm now dancing with, let's say, is that I have a whole planning. I have the MVP to launch, but also these customers have some wishes, so they want a few things to do. And I have this experience with my first SaaS business, is that if you let them, customers really direct everything, and you become their employee. They become your employer, and if you have 100 customers, you have 100 employers. So that's it's not an ideal situation. So I have to really dance between when do we build features on request, and does it make sense, and what is the vision. And I built this application a bit open, as an SDK for developers was my first idea. And how open do I keep it? Because the two customers I have have an affiliate purpose for SiteTracker, and my whole idea was to track advertising costs. So it's interesting. That's where I am, and I did some work according to my planning, but I also lagged a bit. This last week I didn't get everything done. That kind of bothers me. I can be hard on myself, but I also have to celebrate that I have two customers. Another thing is it's a business to business thing, and I didn't name a price yet, but within any realm they are okay with it. Of course you ask something that makes sense but I don't have a really fixed price in my head yet. I'm still working on that, but they are for sure customer. And now I'm still invoicing them the first month. And then next month they can use my Stripe billing engine that I'm building, but didn't finish yet. So that's a thing I want to share with you. And also what I did work-wise the past days, I want to show you. And I made a list again. So one thing is that we have a little check that checks if the script tag, so we have this script tag, let's see, this script tag is in the header, and we check if it's still there. One of the customers wants that because they will give every customer of them their own domain. The idea is that we then make the possibility of multi-users, and every multi-user should have like a domain or multiple domains attached to that user login. It's already a big request. I'm willing to build that, but let's see how many customers he has and what we can ask per customer, so if it makes financial sense. But this already made sense, so I built that. It's easy. It was like a little beautiful soup scraping we do, and we just check if in the header is this domain ID. I first had also the SRC that it checked the whole thing, but in this case, yesterday all of a sudden it was minified. I think it's by the caching. So that didn't work, so it's already good to see it in action and test yourself. So and then it has a little log, so it tells you like the script is missing. That's one thing I worked on. Another thing I worked on is charts. These three, they're not really working with the datetime yet, and this we already had, but these charts are like visits per referrer, visits per country, and then visits per page. And yeah, it's not really aligned, because if you have 100, it's all squeezed. There's something to work on, and also all the day ranges should work with this. And then the idea is like that you can say last 7 days, last 14 days, or year to date, and then button custom, and then you can custom. And then the question is, do we want to store that, or let the user make like a little profile that they can preset, or I don't know. I really like that Stripe dashboard, so probably I will steal a lot from them. So let's see. But in the basis, this should be functional and properly outlined, and then I call it done when also the this datetime works. That's one thing I worked on. The other thing, the bigger thing I worked on yesterday is the another model that I introduced. I believe before the weekend I already spoke about this. Is the parameters. We have click events, so within the tracking you can make any element in the DOM, you can give an attribute, and when you click it, something can happen, triggered by SiteTracker. And another question from one customer is, like his case is like the following. We have indie page, who hasn't? Everyone has an indie page. And here we have SiteTracker. If I click on it, it's a ref indie page. How can I track this? Of course, you can use Google Analytics. But as one of my customers also says, I don't know how to use it. It's Google's data and how to set it up. And his advertising guy promises him but doesn't deliver. So that's why he wants to use SiteTracker, because now he can just, when someone comes in on indie page. So let's see if I can show you. Admin, and let's see what this one does. We add it to a list, or do we? Oh, we have this already set up to a list. So then we remove the tracker to show you what it does, because otherwise the session might already be stored there. So then I go to my WooCommerce site. Oh no, oh, not. I go to another site of mine where so this is, let's say, in the indie page, and I click this, and there's a test param 1, 2, 3. That one might store it if you're lucky, if it all works. So we have, I think this site, yeah. So now, now it is. If the date is today, we know it's, yeah, for sure. It's now it's added to this list. So this way you can keep track of everybody that came in from that parameter, and you can also use a wildcard here. So you can say any value that works, and the first customer, the customer that wants this, has like an Instagram list from media, blogs that he's on, and you name it, and he tracks everything this way. And then the next idea is that you can schedule events here, schedule reports, and then, for example, every week you get the new entries of that week in an email, Excel, or maybe just a download button. Let's see how, but that's what he wants, and it's a good idea. So that's something we will introduce as well. Yeah, so that's a big, but that was kind of a thing. And what I still have to work on within the whole parameter realm is that next to, so within the application, let's say, if I go anywhere, so I go to this one, that these parameters can also have a parameter event instead of a click event or whatever. So we have referrer, so where did he come from? That's what we now already track, but there's also page load. And in the page load, it should just, within the domain, check all the parameters all the time. So that's something I still have to work on. That's it for me. That's the progress so far. I hope to get back to you within a few days with some more progress. I'm a bit behind on my schedule. I have to get a lot. Kind of the plan is to have this week to get a basis of the whole app like finished, and then I have one more week for the marketing, WordPress, and publish on for sure on Product Hunt, and I might do some other publishes later, or I do it all at once. I have to figure that out. And then what's next is that I kind of want to let it go from then, and then work on another MVP that I have for a while in my head, and then see what happens around SiteTracker, and then pick it up. But that's the strategy I have now in my head. I'm not sure if that's the way to go. Depends on how many customers are starting using it. For example, if it becomes a real application, if it really gets traction, I can imagine big thing. For example, if I make a parameter here, I'm now creating something, blah, blah, blah. And then, oh shit, the trigger is not there yet. And then kind of, you have to leave the page to create a trigger. Then you think, oh, let's make a trigger. That event is not there yet, you know, so that's not really friendly. So you have to kind of create funnels. Every time you create a parameter, you start with the question, what trigger do you want, or make a new one, and within that page you want to create a new one, for example. So, and then you step by step you build your parameter. So make it very, very user friendly. That will be the big next step. Also, what I want is a basic onboarding. So for sure some YouTube videos, and maybe already show them everywhere. So people, or just one big video with a whole product overview behind the help button or something. So at least people know exactly what they can do with the application, what is possible of, and then they can fill in the blanks. And those things I really have to work on in the coming weeks. But this week I have to finish all for example, the parameter onload that I showed you, and all these little things should work. So yeah, that's it for me, and hope to see you in the next video. And if you like it, subscribe or leave a feedback. I'm very curious if you have any ideas or questions, and I would love to answer them. And see you in the next one. Bye bye.